This is TechCrunch. For fusion startups, the hard part is over. Thanks to a groundbreaking experiment back in 2022, we know that controlled nuclear fusion reactions can generate more power than they consume. But now companies need to prove their reactors can make enough electricity to be profitable. One option is to simply turn up the temperature, generating more heat to produce more steam to spin a bigger turbine. Another is to harvest electricity directly from the fusion reactions themselves, an approach that promises to be more efficient. Realta Fusion announced that an experiment it conducted on June 19th successfully powered a light bulb using electricity harvested directly from WHAM, its demonstration fusion device. The Wisconsin-based startup believes it is the first private company to publicly demonstrate such a feat. Kieran Furlong, co-founder and CEO of Realta Fusion, told TechCrunch that we can take power from a plasma. The milestone shows what's possible. Realta plans to use direct electricity conversion to heat the plasma in its reactor, a process that requires a lot of energy. Furlong estimates that direct conversion is about 90% efficient, meaning it will convert 90% of the potential energy into electricity. By comparison, steam turbines in today's fission reactors are about 33% efficient. The more energy the company is able to harvest, the quicker it will get to profitability. Every power plant consumes some of the power it produces simply to operate, and fusion reactors are no exception. The big challenge fusion startups face today is building reactors that can produce more energy than they consume. The efficiency boost from direct energy conversion should make clearing that hurdle a little easier. About 20% of the energy from fusion reactions, fueled by deuterium-tritium, the kind Realta plans to use in its commercial reactors, are charged helium nuclei known as alpha particles. The startup built a prototype electricity converter and attached it on the end of its reactor. There, it was able to harvest enough input power to generate multiple amps of electricity at 100 volts, powering a few light bulbs. On a commercial-scale power plant, the direct energy converters should provide enough energy to heat the plasma. As Furlong said, you're basically able to recirculate the electricity. Ultimately, Furlong estimates that circularity could boost a commercial-scale power plant's total output by 20 to 30%. Though it might be the first to demonstrate direct energy conversion, Realta isn't the only startup planning to deploy that technology in its reactor. For Helion, the startup backed by Sam Altman, direct energy conversion is key to its plans, though it has yet to demonstrate it publicly. Harvesting electricity directly from the fusion reaction really helps with the economics of a reactor's design. Realta previously raised $36 million in a Series A, led by Future Ventures in 2025. Furlong said the company is in the midst of raising a new round. Vinton Cerf will finally step down from his role as Google's chief internet evangelist next week, marking the conclusion of one of the most influential careers in technology history. While speaking via video feed at the Open Frontier Conference hosted by the Laud Institute, Cerf was recognized by Dave Patterson, the UC Berkeley professor best known for co-developing RISC processor architecture. Vint has been at Google more than 20 years, and he is retiring a week from today, and so I think we ought to give him a round of applause for a relatively good career. Now, the 83-year-old Cerf and collaborator Robert Kahn are credited as being the architects of the networking protocols that became the Internet we know today. His work developing and popularizing TCP/IP, the basic set of rules that lets different computer networks talk to each other, beginning in the 1970s, has been recognized with numerous honorary degrees, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and a Turing Award, among other honors. Since 2005, Cerf has served as Vice President and Chief Internet Evangelist at Google, At this point, we can safely say the internet is fully evangelized, for good or ill. Cerf was speaking on a panel alongside other computer scientists known for their work on durable open source projects. Much of the conference's discussion focused on the problems with the centralization of advanced models in a handful of well-resourced labs, in contrast to the decentralized world of the open internet that made Cerf's own protocols so durable. However, Cerf predicted that the rise of AI agents, software that can act autonomously and coordinate with other software, would push tech companies back toward standardized protocols. Cerf said, "The agentic model of AI, with multiple agents from multiple sources interacting with each other, is going to force composability and a requirement for interoperability and standardization." If he's right, the companies that define those interoperability standards early could end up with outsized influence over how the agentic economy actually works, a dynamic not unlike the early Internet protocol wars. While other panelists speculated that natural language communication between LLM agents would be sufficient, Cerf predicted formal standards would be required. He said, "I don't think English is going to be the best choice. There's a flexibility in it. But there's ambiguity, and I think precision for inter-agent interaction is going to be very, very important. An agent really needs to be sure the other agent understands what it is that they just agreed to do together." Remember the old telephone game where you whispered in somebody's ear and then by the time it got to 10 people away, the message was totally different? Well, imagine a bunch of agents talking to each other in natural language. That's kind of terrifying. In a more lighthearted moment, Patterson recalled meeting Cerf, known for his wardrobe of three-piece suits, as a grad student back in the 1970s. Patterson said, "He's always been the best-dressed computer scientist I've ever met. My memory of Vint is that he came as a grad student with a shirt and tie in the 70s. Cerf responded, "It's absolutely true. I even had a vest, and for some reason I always wanted to stick out, and instead of having long hair and something in my nose, I thought just dressing differently was one way to do it." That's all for now. For the latest tech news, go to TechCrunch.com.